I would like to welcome Carles Enrich in first place. I just want to explain a few things about the Foro Cerámico activity. That's why we are here. I will try to run, so not taking time for Carles. I think it's interesting what we are trying to do together with the Foro. As you know, in school we've got this kind of office to try to help all of you in giving advance to any competition that you are thinking of. We advise about it, and also we try to promote some of them from the school, and that's why we are part of this competition linked to Foro Cerámico Hispalyt 1. That I need to also thank for the incredible initiative of being able to develop all these activities. And basically, they develop all these things that I think they are somehow interesting for all of you. Also, the last point is this survey idea, because I think you should complete the survey about what you are interested in, so we are able to promote any of those. The first one is the project contest that I was saying that we are enrolled within. In this case, this year it's this winery in Peñafiel, in the interior of Spain. Although it's guided through a special course, in our case, it's open for all the school. It's true that it's for third year or higher, but as it's in teams work, either you can look for teammates, and as you have 1/3 or more, you are able to participate too. In any case, in our there's these two ways of working: through the local school, that is the one that we are participating, and then we compete against the other schools of architecture in Spain. So for the national award, there is these two phases competition. In our case, as I was saying, we are working in Architectural Project 5, so it's somehow mandatory for them with Sergio García Gascó. So if we don't win, it would be Sergio's fault for sure. But in any case, as I was saying, it's open for the rest of the school. We participate in this first phase, and then the winners and mentions will go to the second phase, to the national one. So we need to win the national one for sure. The inscription is free. That's something really important for us as a school. All the information is in the website, so you can check all the requirements there. You can also ask me any data that you need. And the deadline in our case for the local one is 25th of May. As I was saying, in Architectural Project 6, they will develop the work in the school time, so it's a kind of part of the subject. And there is a kind of a small prize, but at least something, with 2 mentions, and then a bigger one if we are the real winners of the national one, which is the one that we are, I'm sure, we are going to win this year for sure. Okay, with those dates over there, with 2 phases jury, the local one, that they are those of us through the school, plus the Hispalyt coordinator, Enrique, and then a more prestigious one for the national one, sorry, with all the people that you can check in the website as well. Somehow this kind of competition or awards is also open to the older students by the final degree project or the master project. All of them somehow link with the BRIC. So if the project is with BRIC or the research is through somehow BRIC, they can look for these prizes. So again, what we were saying over there with the deadlines, also inscription free, and the categories, you can check all this information in the website. But I think again it's another opportunity to value your work. With a jury in both. Then a third activity that the Foro promotes is why we've got here today Carles Enrich, that is these lectures that most of them are recorded, so you can access even them in the website. And I think they are very interesting because we can find like different categories, no? More focused in the public buildings, other ones for social housing, more smaller dimension ones of private dwellings, or even refurbishment or working with existing. So I think it's different work of people that are really interesting. One, of course, is the one that we put here, which is Carles. That's why we picked him. And finally, or going forward, there is also all this information about technical issues, which I think is also something really helpful, especially to work with your projects, where you can find a lot of information about this idea of working with brick in many ways, not just as a more traditional way. No? It's all this information that you can check and work with it. Especially with the competition, we are going to work with some of this material. Also, if you ask for in the survey, there is this factory visit, so we can actually go and visit how this material is built, which I think is also something interesting to see. And all this work usually is disseminated through the website, ebook, so you can check other years' competition if you are competing. So all these things is recollected over there, which I also think it could be interesting. And as I was saying, very important, your architectural project teachers will provide you a survey so you can fulfill and think which of those are you interested in, and we can continue promoting more activities for you. Okay, so really quickly. And then, as I was saying, we are really happy to have here Carles, which I think as a really young, I can say, studio, no? It's one of the most outstanding nowadays architecture studios, winning a lot of competition. I'm not going to mention all of them, and lecturing all around the world, teaching. He's also a teacher, but especially I would like to highlight his precise work in terms of understanding the site, which is something that I think really important for you, know, as, or for everybody as learning, because he has this careful analysis of where he's going to intervene. And especially I will also highlight that it's not, or I will say it's a risky response. No? It's not something that it's like, I don't know how to say it, but it's this really attitude of interacting with the site, no? Giving a new layer of history. It's not just going through, analyzing, but then giving a response, which I think it's very difficult, no? And I will say that it's risky, no? Taking a position in terms of the project, which I think you will see in the work for sure, is really, really nice. So thank you for being here, and I leave you the. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Javier, for this excellent introduction of our studio, of our work, and thank you Foro Cerámico Hispalyt for this event and for inviting me. We have been several times awarded in these awards, actually in these brick awards. So I think it's an opportunity for you guys to be on these competitions and to be on this idea of working with a material, which I think it's really interesting in terms of use and reuse. No, it's maybe one of the oldest materials, no, and then something that we could really use now in nowadays and even in landscape approaches. No, as Javier mentioned, I don't know if we can turn a little bit the lights so it's more cinematographic. No? Yeah. Return. Okay. But the screen is. Don't worry. Okay, great. Okay, so yeah, I think I would like to start with this image. I think it resumes, no, it summarizes all these ideas that I'm going to talk today, and also Javier mentioned this idea that we have this approach that architecture is a part of course, of landscape, but also of time. For us, time is the real matter of our work, time, in terms of understanding the history of the place and the future itself. So our work is some of this research, previous research, and understanding the precise conditions of its place, the potential of the place, and try to empower the place with our introduction, with our work. No? In this sense, we think that if we have this timeline from the 10th or even before, no, the 10th century into the 21st or 22nd century, our work could be, no, at the end we have a commission, no, everyone will have some commissions which will be in one precise moment in 1 year, but we understand that our work is all this, understanding all this history, all this period, because at the end our work is only a moment in a time sequence. And we think that our work, as Javier mentioned, is a layer, no, that we introduce in a place. And this layer is going to be rooted at the side. It's going to transform the place, and you have another future. So in that sense, I decided to arrange this structure for today. I will talk about reusing heritage in terms of our approach to heritage is not only the catalog or the you could say the most important heritage. I think that heritage is persistent, so everything could be heritage. It's material heritage, but also atmospherical heritage, natural heritage. And then we will talk about new enclosures, no, in order to, when we already have to build something, no, from nothing. And then we will talk about this idea of permanently ephemeral, which there are some interventions, very light interventions in a historical or even archaeological places. No, so at the end, all of this work is about understanding the place, working with materials. I think that I decided to explain some of projects that have to do with this brick material, no, and then most of them I could say that are dealing with this idea of reusing, no? Reusing the pre-existence. Actually, in Barcelona, this is a number that's maybe it's not so precise, but 30% of the buildings of the heritage or the old buildings are unused. That means that we have a lot of empty spaces in Barcelona of buildings that we don't use, and we cannot afford an investment to put on to bring or to renew all these buildings. So Barcelona has a problem because even every year, no, the buildings are getting older and have more energy problems, no, in terms of isolation, etc. No, so what we think is that we have to change our mind. I have to start to think about this kind of more economical intervention in this kind of buildings, so it can be reused even faster than a long-term project, which will take a lot of regulations, a lot of things that when you start a project and then when you finish a project, maybe you pass like 7 or 8 years, maybe the needs are something different. So we think that our approach to pre-existent buildings or spaces is more about understanding the place itself and try to do the minimum things in order to put that in value and transform that into a new infrastructure. So we started our practice 10 years ago, in 2013, in the middle of the crisis, economic crisis, as you know, in Spain, no, from 2008 or 9 until now. We have been in the middle of this economic crisis. Actually, our practice has been through 4 crises, no? Economic crisis, social crisis, health crisis, and the most important and urgent crisis is the climate crisis, no? The energy crisis, which we have all have to think about some answers to some positions, no, to try to face that. And then we started our practice with very small and very low budget commissions as this, no, as refurbishments or renovations of old apartments in Barcelona. In this case, we started working in Gracia neighborhood, no? And this is one of our first projects, no, Gallery House, which was the transformation of an existing place. Our client took us to this place that they bought for a family, and this was an example of an old place, not really interesting because this is the Gracia neighborhood, and we have some really interesting spaces as this courtyard here, no, this courtyard, and then. But as you see, this was very fragmented into small rooms without any kind of ventilation or natural light or any kind of relation with the outdoors. So our project was about to improve this place in order to explode the rooms and try to amplify the openings and implement the relation with the outdoor space, understanding the inhabitant space as a whole plot. Also, the patio, the courtyard would be like an exterior room. So we started to do this kind of interventions, like opening spaces, no, like with, of course, new structure in order to make this sequence of indeterminate spaces, which would make a connection between the interior and the exterior, the street, no, crossing the patio as a new space, no, and then introducing the new layer after transforming the pre-existing, introducing a new layer which would be a light layer, no, a lightweight layer with wood or metal, understanding that this could be reversible in the future, no, and also trying to explain the difference between the pre-existing and the new elements, no, for storage or for using this as a vegetal pergola. And after all, this idea of trying to make like a permeable sequence from all the spaces, understanding the street and the courtyard as part of the house, no? Understanding in the Mediterranean, no? Also in Valencia, of course, in all the Mediterranean culture, we can live in the outdoors like 8 or 9 months a year, no? Even now. So I think that we should be more worried about the summer as a hot temperature, so we have to improve this kind of shadows and comfortable spaces in the exteriors. But in the spring or autumn, and of course in summer, we can open the house and we can live in the outdoors. No, it's a completely different idea of the passive house, no, which is a Northern Europe concept, of course, for an enclosed house. No, we think that the house has to be passive in terms of installations, but the users have to be active in terms of understanding how they want to live there. So we with this approach, and also with the commitment, no, or the compromise of the client to understand this kind of living, we understand the house could be only like a sequence of different spaces connected, linked to the exterior, introducing vegetation as a new layer, no, as a biological material that can create shadows, etc., and placing the minimum things, no, the kitchen, only the minimum things in order to leave the space as indeterminated, so the users can use it and can reuse it in the future, no, as anything else. No, they can do whatever they want, and only these structures define these spaces without closing or enclosing the rooms. Okay. So at the end, for us, the most important thing is this idea of transforming the exterior space, no, with these ropes and these vegetable, plants that would have like a shadow in summer, okay, but in winter, of course, it lets the light in, so it's a really comfortable place. No? Another house, actually, this is a single house between party walls in the north district of Barcelona, in a very nice district. It's very close to Guinardó mountain. Okay, we found this house, and then it was a house from the beginning of the 20th century, 1920, 1921. but it was being transformed, or the house was being intervened by the former users, and had all of additions, and was really in a bad condition. So our approach was to try to maintain the facade of the house and a part of the structure, and replace some of the back part of the house in order to increase the surface. This is another idea that, of course, we really believe in Lacaton's basal idea of adding spaces, of understanding the value of more surface, more exterior spaces, more intermediate spaces. And in this case, what we do was to maintain half of the house, as the history, as the ancient part, with the old structure, with its values, as inertia structure, with bricks, of course. And then we introduced a new structure, a wooden structure, a light structure, in order not to increase the foundation of the house. But since it was really high, we could do 3 levels, and we could increase the surface and the program that was needed for this house, for a family. And at the middle of these 2 structures, the newer structure and the older structure, we place all the facilities, the bathroom, the kitchen, and the staircase in the middle of a patio, with a skylight. So all the different rooms can have a cross ventilation, and can have a good relation with exterior. This is some pictures of the work site progress. We made this metal structure, in order to support the new slabs, the wooden slabs, that were left like this, like pavement and ceilings. It's a CLT 20 centimeter CLT, which was already the finished, for this. And this is an image of the central space that really helps to improve the the conditions, the morphological conditions of the house, all the ventilation, and all the cross ventilation, and on the lighting, the natural lighting. This idea of understanding, of course, again, the sequence of time, the old, the new, and at the middle, like a void space that connects everything. So the house at the end has 2 phases, the former phase and the new house, which has 3 levels, and has this idea again of a permeable connection between the ground floor and the garden. Understanding that the house itself is like a garden. The house itself could be understood, as an exterior space, and while even with the time is a factor, an important factor, because it improves all these external conditions. This layer of vegetable and the shadows, the natural shadows, and in the center of the house we have this vertical connection with the different floors, and we have like a greenhouse in the middle, which can be open in summer in order to extend the surface and the connection and the permeable conditions of the house. And in winter it can be closed, and it can be like a glass house, a winter garden, and then it could be, of course, can divide the house in different spaces, or it can open and can be in one single space. So these are some images of this space. Where it really works to improve the thermodynamical condition of the house. We are really concerned about all this idea of moving air inside the buildings. At the end, we as architecture build surface, we work with materials, but the main factor of comfort is air, temperature. So what we have to do is understand the values of materials. Brick has inertia, wood doesn't have inertia. It allows a really fast temperature in terms of, but it has good isolation conditions. And then all this idea of having this vertical permeable patio improves, of course, the biotechnical the conditions of the house. Sorry. And also introducing this idea of nature, of greenery inside, to improve the quality of air and also the quality of the space. So as I mentioned, this idea of this patio with the skylight, no, that in summer, in winter, captures the heat, no, and it's also like not like a heat container, but in winter it works like a chimney, no, in order to make a good achievement of this idea of ventilation. So the next project is about the same idea. At the end, you will see that mostly of our projects, we work with the same ideas. This is a competition that we won 4 years ago in the center of Barcelona, in the historical center in Raval. Okay, this is near MACBA, which is the Museum of Modern Art of Barcelona, and also near an historical building by Josep Lluís Sert, anti-tuberculose, no? It is a health building. So we went to this competition in order to transform this existing housing building, which was unused, was empty, was closed. The brief of the competition was to transform this into a music school, a public music school. But the municipality of Barcelona wanted to demolish this building because they have a problem with old buildings, since it's very expensive to transform that building into something like from the 21st century in terms of código técnico, regulations, etc. It's really expensive, and also we have problems with occupation. These buildings in the center of Barcelona and in some areas, we have really a problem with squatters. No, they get into this building and we don't have a law to take them out, and it really is a problem with municipalities. So they always try to demolish these buildings which are almost in bad conditions. But in this case, since it was in front of this old historical building by Josep Lluís Sert, the brief of the competition asked us to maintain the main facade, okay, only the main facade. So we were really against, or we didn't really think that was a good idea in terms of reusing a building, only to maintain a facade and demolish the rest of the building. So our approach to the competition, we didn't believe this was the technical study that they gave us, no, for the competition. As you see, all the the red areas mean it was in danger. No, this structure is in danger. We didn't really believe that, and we propose, instead of demolishing everything and maintaining just this facade as a framework, we propose to maintain the three facades in order to maintain the volume, so in order to maintain the image of the street, and also try to maintain or to save parts of the structure to keep these three facades, no? And then we proposed to intervene to do this strategical demolition of the interior of the part of the building, in order to maintain not the perimeter, the structure, the former structure, the perimeter, but to introduce like a void, no, a great void space in the middle where we could add some light structure, wooden structure that doesn't increment the weight of the building, which is a very good idea working in historical centers as Barcelona, as Raval, because we have a lot of archaeology and a lot of ruins, no, underneath. So with this idea of maintaining, no, parts of the building and just intervening in the center, and another idea that helped us to win the competition was to replace all the rooms from the facade, but put them on the back part between the party walls, so we could have like a good, a corridor, no, in the facades, in order to have like a street, a public space, no, in the building, no, understood as a street that connected all the different rooms, all the music rooms. And then this idea of box in a box, working with the great box, the pre-existing box of ceramic, bricks and stones and everything, no, the mineral box, and then introducing these light structures, no, for the new uses, no, for that didn't touch the party walls, so we had some space for installations and facilities. And then another idea was to understand the climate conditions of this place. Raval doesn't really have, the neighborhood has very narrow streets and has very low lighting, very low heating, not sun heating, because the streets are really, really narrow. So in winter is a problem. Now we wanted to achieve a good a reduction of the heating, no? And then we proposed this glass roof that in winter, again, no, as the house, it was like a thermodynamical idea of keeping the heat, no, in this part of the roof, and in summer we shade all the roof, the glass roof, and it works, no, like a thermodynamic conductor, no, to help the heat go out the building. So with this kind of interventions, with this kind of ideas, we try to reduce the need of installation in public buildings, and also try to improve the bioclimatical spaces, no, inside the buildings, which we think it's really important, no, in order to reduce the need of machines, no, inside the buildings. So now the building, we just started this first one, no, which is the intervention, no, the interior demolition of some parts of the building. But we are really happy because with this competition that we won, we could save, or we think that we could save the original building. No? So that means the history of the building, that means the material, reducing, of course, reducing the need of new resources, no? And of course, obtaining this kind of vertical spaces, which were very powerful. Okay, with the same idea, we improved this idea of in another competition. Actually, this was, I think, the first competition we won in Barcelona. 6 years ago or 5 years ago. But now we had the chance to finish the first one, no, after 6 years. So as you imagine, no, we are a young studio, but now we are finishing the first competitions that we won 5 or 6 years ago. So in terms of architecture, you have to be patient, no, and you have to take your time. This is a Vallcarca. This is a neighborhood in the Gracia district, in the north of Gracia. This is a very interesting neighborhood. It's actually in the valley of Tres Turons, the three hills, no? As you know, Parc Güell and Turó de la Rovira, etc. So this was a former agriculture area. This was a former second house area, even for Barcelona, because this was not in the center of Barcelona. This was like in the outskirts. So there was plenty of these small houses with gardens and implemented in this topography. In 1911, this modern idea of mobility, made this need to connect the different districts, Puchet and Vallcarca, and overlaid this infrastructure, no? This bridge, which is I think a wood structure, but it provoked some disconnection between different parts of the neighborhood, as this one, no? As you see that this infrastructure almost made like a disconnection between the different parts of the former topography. So from this street over here, sorry, because I don't know how it. Okay. Okay. So. Okay, from this street over here to that street, we had like a 7 or 8 meter disconnection. No? And the competition was about to transform this place, this house. It was a former artist house from the beginning of the 20th century, in a social center. Okay, for the neighborhood. This is the house. Okay, it was abandoned. It was in a very bad condition. It was supposed again to be demolished. The interior, we had to maintain the facades, etc. But for us, the worst part was this street, no? Because it's really, really a small space for pedestrians, and we have a big space for cars, no? But what we did was to see this house, this site, from the other side, not only from the main facade or the main entrance, which was this, okay? We saw it from the backgrounds, and we sought an opportunity to understand all this site as a powerful connection between both streets. So we could improve, improve a connection, that was far away from our competition site, but we took risk on that. We took risk, and then we proposed in the competition that all these gardens would be, in fact, a connector between the different streets. So it would help. It will improve the accessibility of Vallcarca's inhabitants. So at the end, for us, the competition was not only about the refurbishment of the building, the renovation of the building, which was also an extension because it's a really small building, was about to improve this idea of urban connectivity. Okay, we won the competition with this idea. We were quite risky because we were out from the side of the competition, but I think that the jury we were the only ones who saw this opportunity, and the jury really appreciated and gave us the first prize. So we developed this project. This project was about, again, understanding, as the other projects, the value of the pre-existence as a inertia house, with, of course, tough materials, mineral materials, bricks, stones, etc. So we thought we could replace all the permanent uses in the former house, and then a light structure, wooden structure, in order to have this contrast between the new and the old. And this light structure was an indeterminate space, in order to be just for, I don't know, different uses, multi-purpose uses, and just a polyvalent surface area, okay? Of course, we were very, try to be very precise in order to do this kind of overlaying systems between the different structures. But we finished the project, and in 2020, March 2020, 3 years ago, we were about to start the construction. Actually, we had the first meeting with the municipality in order to start the construction process, But March 2020, I don't know if you remember, there was a world pandemic. I don't know if you remember that, but what happened is that we had this budget for this project, 2 million, and it was over. This budget went to other needs, of course, more important needs at the moment. 2 years later, the municipality of Barcelona called us and they say, we have to start doing something here, because if not, we are going to lose our investment, etc. So we, with a 90% reduce of the budget, with only a 10%, you have to do something. Start doing something. Do the demolition, okay, and then we'll just enclosure the building. So it's like a first phase, and then maybe some years ago we will continue these works. Okay, we said, okay, we're going to take this as an advantage. We're going to take this idea, but we're going to improve the project. We're going to do a better project with this reduction, okay? And we say, which is the first or the essential idea of the project? For us, it was not the building. For us, it was the connection. We're going to do the connection. We're going to improve the connection between the two streets. We're going to make public, to open these private gardens, which were never able as a public space. We're going to do that. And then, of course, we had the commission of intervening in the house, in order not to be like a void space with rooms and with a very bad condition of interiors. So we did, okay, we're going to intervene, we're going to demolish the interior, but we're going to leave it as an open space linked to the gardens, okay? So at the end, we're going to make all this project as a garden, as a public space, and the house itself would be just a roof, a part, a shelter of this exterior space. So at the end, they bought this idea. They say, okay, if you can do it with this price, do it. Okay, and they say, okay, let's do it. And then we started this deconstruction process, which was really interesting. We actually, of course, we had to reinforce the roof. Of course, okay, we implemented all these walls with new bricks, in the surface in order to make the vertical structure, to improve the vertical structure, which was in a very bad condition. Okay, we improved. We introduced new layer of bricks and these structures, to maintain the space. And we did this operation of the construction in order to reach this situation, to transform a house with small rooms, non-ventilated rooms, interior staircase, etc., into like a temple. A temple, of course, an empty space, but the idea is that can be used for anything, as a just an infrastructure, a public infrastructure linked to the gardens that can be used for cultural events, expositions, concerts, I don't know, poetry, something else. Now we are, of course, we have finished this this moment. We hope, this is like a temporary phase. We hope this idea of temporality will be long term, because we really like this project. At this moment, we replaced all these rooms at the entrance, etc. No, we have this situation at this moment, and now the municipality of Barcelona is really understanding the potential of this space, and is starting to think that it could be like I don't know, maybe some kind of satellite museum from another cultural event in Barcelona, or it could be a temporary exposition or something like that. So at the end, we think that this is really a social place. This is really a new building without maybe without a conventional facade, without installations, but it's a building with a very low budget, and it's a building for the 21st century. I think we really think that this kind of situations, the city needs this kind of ambiguous situations. A building that could work as a climate refuge, but also as a place where it could be used for temporary events. So we hope that, and now we are working on the gardens, so soon it will be open for public. So I hope that will be used, hopefully, for the city, as a really new space. Okay, we start with the second group of projects. These projects, I think they are all like new plan, okay? Almost, not all, but almost all. This is another competition that we won 2 years ago. This is a competition that, and in Barcelona as well, that was about to understand this situation and to transform this farmhouse. Barcelona, of course, 100 years ago, we had a lot of agriculture area with farmhouses, okay, and now the development of the urban growth of Eixample, etc., the demography transformed the whole territory, of course. But now there are some remains of that, and this farmhouse, which is abandoned and it's also closed, but it's a testimony of this history. But the competition was not only about the renovation of this house, was about to adding a new layer, was about to propose, since this house was very small, and the use for the competition, it was like a elderly people center. The competition asked the possibility to introduce a new space, for different uses, for the neighborhood, for, I don't know, theater or perhaps like a small talks, etc. Like a indeterminate space. We propose to build it here, at the party wall, as understanding the history of this place, as it was built with like all different moments and of course different situations, as this water tower. So we placed this it was like an old storage place with brick walls, and then we really improved all the connection with the exterior. We made this kind of work with water, introducing water as a new element, in these gardens, in order to have biodiversity of animals, okay, and plants, and also we improved the bioclimatical conditions of the former house. And we again understood this new element, as an opportunity to have these indeterminate spaces, and understood as a continuation of the continuity of the exterior space, as if it was only like a porch, So now we are developing this project, okay, and this allows as well the possibility to have, again, different phases, not to have like maybe only we could start by doing this, and then maybe in the future we will do the farmhouse. So with this idea of dividing the program, no, a big program, but maybe, I don't know, some years ago in Barcelona we were like more used to build big buildings, no, with a huge surface. Now the idea is building small buildings, or rebuilding, or reusing small buildings and constructing small places, no, with a domestic scale, no, in order to improve or to be faster on construction, no. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Another project. Now we're going to see like a sequence of different competitions that we are actually working on site at this moment, no, and all of them are with this idea of introducing a new structure, a new element, no, in a place which improves, and it thinks, no, it has this look for the future, no? It thinks that it can be reused for something else, no. In this case, this competition was about adding a fireman practice tower in this fireman place, no? This is a fireman office in Barcelona, and the fireman needs, or in Catalonia, there's, I don't know in Valencia, but in Catalonia we have a lot of, or some towers where they go to practice, or to, yeah. They climb and they jump, and it's like some, like it reproduces the toughest situations they will find in the buildings. Okay, so the competition was about to create this new tower, okay, in this place, and the brief was to be aware of, or understand the situation of landscape, and try to be integrated in the context. No, since it's a very strategical place, it's near the rondas, so this tower will be seen by a lot of points. No, so our first approach was understanding, of course, the site, but we thought that our context was not only the fireman place, was okay, the dwellings that were on the other side of the rondas, but again it was, or all this informal construction, no, of Carmel's neighborhood, which is really cheap construction, informal bricks, party walls, etc. So we thought that this was our context, okay, and we proposed a tower that was made by concrete and bricks, in order to be like a materiality connection with two parts of the city, in order to, of course, propose a building which doesn't have any kind of maintenance. No, the brief of the competition didn't want any glass, any wood, any metal, because of course firemen, no, use it to wet it, to even to put fire in it. So it was really a tricky thing to think about which materials could be used for that purpose. And the structure is a really simple and element structure. It has this 8 columns, no, in the middle. The plan is 8 per 8 meters approximately. So we have these 8 columns in the middle, and then we have a perimeter staircase which goes, no, up to the 8th floor. And in the middle we have different situations in terms of the problem that they needed. No, different staircase, double spaces, etc. So in the middle of the space, we have like some traps and some, I don't know, a lot of different situations. And then in the exterior, we have like another, like a corridor, not vertical corridor. So that could make that the firemen could have practice, no, in parallel, no, in the exterior and in the center. And also we thought that this building maybe in the future could be implemented for something else. No, you could cover all these halls, no, and it could be, I don't know, an interior space with like a gallery, no, a perimeter gallery, which would improve the climatic conditions, no. Of course, the section and it's like an interior topography, really interesting, no, in terms of different spaces. And this is some images of the competition. We had, of course, different balconies, windows, etc., to implement the situations of different buildings. That was on the brief of the competition. And in the interior, we have very raw materials without any kind of finished. Okay, just the bricks. We place the brick, the bricks upside down, okay, with the holes exposed, no, in order to let the air go through and the light, but in order to be more permeable and not to have like a huge impact in terms of wind, since it's a very tall building, not 24 meters. So it's important to think about this kind of air lightness, no? And now we are about to, or we finished the foundations, and now we are going up, okay, with a very thin columns of 25 centimeters, okay, concrete, and then we are going up, and I think in 3 or 4 months we will see this tower, no? And these are some tests that we are going to make for the facade. Okay. And then the last competition or the other project of this group, okay, that also in terms of this idea of new enclosures that work with the idea of introducing new grid that could be used or will be used for dwellings, but in the future could be used for something else, is a project in Mallorca, in Palma. It's really in a really I would say extreme condition, because it's really close from the airport and really close from this highway. So the acoustic condition was really hard to achieve, no? Actually the plot itself was really strange, no? Really narrow, okay? Started from 10 meters and finished in 0 meters, no? It was like a triangle, but really narrow, okay? And then it was some pre-existence that we took advantage of that, or we wanted to maintain, like this rock. Marès rock is of course a Mallorca, a Balearic stone, and it was on that place, and explained that the history of this place, it was una cantera. I don't know the name in English. A quarry. Okay, so we wanted to maintain the essence of this place, and we wanted to understand it as an introduction of a structure in order to be, to improve achieve the program of housing, but to maintain the idea, no? And we had the references. We went through a lot of. We wanted to work with local brick constructors in Mallorca. We didn't want to export bricks from La Peninsula, from Spain. We wanted to work with local construction, local materials in Mallorca. And we went to some fabrics, and then finally we decided to work with this idea, with the material. No, it's called H20, has 20 holes. It's thicker and bigger than the usual bricks from Catalonia, or I would say Spain. No, I mean it's bigger, and there's less joints. No, and it's faster to build. Okay. This is the plan. We have 11 buildings, 5 buildings, sorry, in the ground floor, and then 6 buildings that work like duplex in the first and second floor. And the building, as you see, is getting narrow since it goes up, in order to have terraces and patios in the interior, since we have the highway on the street, so we could not have any kind of exterior space, no, because it was like acoustical distortion. This is like the section, okay? It gets narrow, and then we have this gallery in the underground that connects the different buildings and improves the air and the climatic conditions. This is a bioclimatic strategy. Of course, it helps to connect all the installations, but also it works as a corridor, no, as an air corridor, no, in order to achieve a good facility for the housing. We have different typologies, but this is the common typology. In the ground floor, we have like 4 spaces. These are small buildings. It's only like 60 square meters, or even less, no, sometimes. And we have this equal space there, 4 equal spaces. We place, of course, the kitchen, but then the other spaces could be used or could be changed as the users decide, no? And then, these are some images of the interiors. We have, of course, this idea of permeability, this idea, of course, of living, no, in the patio and having just a roof, no, and understanding the place as a porch. Okay, and since we go up, we have different situations of intermediate spaces, as these terraces. Okay, and now we are already in construction, under construction. No, this brick allows us to. We didn't want to cut any brick. This is something that for us it's like a statement. No, we use this material, even it's a cheap material. We really put it in value, and we draw everything, and we don't want to cut any brick. So at the end, this will be exposed. We are thinking even not to paint it. Okay, because at the end, since you have a lot of light coming from both sides, this material itself it's nice and it's warm. So at the end, we think that maybe we won't paint it. We will leave it like this, and we combine this idea of low technology, this idea of just placing like a very simple brick walls, okay, with the idea of a fast technology or faster in order to achieve good timing for the slabs, for the horizontal structure. No, so since all the places are equal the same, we could prefabricate these structures, okay, these light structures, and they were like located inside in maybe only 1 week. Okay. So now we are in this moment of, this is the ground floor, as you see, this idea again of sequences of spaces, the connection with the exterior, okay, lots of light, lots of air. Again, for air, for us, it's really, really important, no, in terms of Mediterranean way of life, no, and also sunlight, no, trying to achieve, no, with these halls and these empty spaces, no, in the first and second floor, trying to achieve a good lighting. And also at the end, we maintained this rock, no, as a pre-existence. So one of the patios will have this surprise, no, when they arrive there. So I think that it's nice because at the end, this is like a biological or geological resource. So I think it's interesting, even if the space is quite narrow, it's strange, but it's kind of unique. So at the end, the promoter decided, or the IBABI, this is IBABI, this was published in the Las Croquis, this project with a lot of great and amazing projects that have our friends. Okay, now we are facing the third part of the lecture, the last part, and actually I think that I already explained the whole ideas or our statement with the other projects, and now you will see the same ideas, the same approach, but with very, very small, I think the smallest interventions that we have done, very local, very precise, and all of them working in historical and archaeological sites. The first project of this group is Jorba. Actually, is the question, or of the castle of Jorba. Jorba is a very small municipality in the west of Catalonia, west of Barcelona. It's near Igualada. Castle of Jorba was important since its strategical position. It was built over the road that connected Barcelona with Zaragoza. No? So it was an ancient road, and the castle had a strategic defense origin, no? Like a look-away point, no? to defend the road. The castle of Jorba, the castle itself is almost as big as the town of Jorba. The town of Jorba is only 2 streets. It's really small. I mean, it's only 2,000 or 300 inhabitants. And in 2015, we were called to see this castle, and they told us, okay, let's go see a castle. And we saw this. We saw this mountain with 3 rocks on the top. But we fell in love with this castle, with this mountain, because we really thought that, okay, this is reality. This is the pass of time, the sedimentation of earth, of moments, vegetation. We wanted to keep it like this, no? But we had a commission to do like a master plan in order to think different stages of intervention in order to recover Castle of Jorba. We are against the idea of recovering a shape, a form. We don't think that architecture, history, or heritage has to be reconstructed. It has to be reinterpreted. This is quite interesting, the idea for us, because at the end, we didn't want to reconstruct the castle. We wanted to reconstruct the experience of going to the castle. The experience, which was the experience of going to this place, was the height, was the landscape, the connection with the territory. So what we thought, and this is the master plan, we wanted to achieve these different levels, since the history, the Castle of Jorba actually itself is a collection of different moments, no, from the 10th century until the 19th century. So we wanted to just be on that history spaces, no, and we proposed like a passage, a route through history, no. So we propose that this could be implemented in different phases, because this kind of projects in Catalonia, we don't have budget for this. It's a very low budget interventions. So with this idea of different phases, it could be implemented, and we could even extend, no, the project until even connecting with the town, no, which was the last implementation of this castle. Okay. So in 2017, we had the opportunity to start the first phase one of this recovering castle. Okay, and first one, we had a great budget of 30,000 euros. That was not our salary, no? It was for the work. So imagine our salary, no? Okay, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's maybe 10% or 12, maybe sometimes. Okay, so we did nothing, just to pay the car, no, the gasoline, no, to go to the site work. And then we decide, since this was about only a very short and very economical and intervention in the castle, we decided to work with the archaeologist, not after the archaeologist, which is the usual. No, you wait until the archaeologist finishes, no, to do the excavation, then you work. We decided to work with the archaeologist, and we decided to work with the material coming from the archaeologist's work, which was that, no, the earth, no. So since the archaeologists were just replacing earth and excavating, no, in order to find more structures, we replaced all this material, that was the material of the project, into the other part, the north part, in order to improve this topography, in order to improve the accessibility to the castle, because that was our first step, going up to the top, to the highest point, to be rooted to landscape, not to have this view, this ancient view that, that in the 10th century, someone decided that this was the great place to place a castle. So we wanted to reach that point. And we reused all this earth to facilitate this topography, no, in order to implement or to improve, the access to the castle. That was the project. The first project was that, no, just to remove earth, actually move earth, no, from one place to another, no, not throw earth. At the end, we really believe that that's a good resource, no. So we move earth, and then we reached that point, the top part, so we could recover the view of the landscape, the original landscape. And for us, that was the castle. That was the experience of the castle. Just getting to the top, facilitate the people getting to the top. We introduced this staircase, just a wooden staircase. We had a lot of problems of accessibility, since we could only get in the castle by car, not by big trucks, by car. So we had to think to cut materials to bring them in the car. Okay, so we decided to cut the 240 centimeters frames into 120 and then 60 centimeters, so we could be easily placed there, okay, by two people. And then just a rope that was like the border, the edge of our visit. No, it's not a handrail, of course, but in the mountains you don't need a handrail. That's what we say to the municipality. We don't need to put handrails here. We don't have money. We don't want to put handrails in a mountain. It's only like a limit, no, in order to understand which is the accessible area. And we left all these rocks that we found on the excavation here, not to waste time bringing them down or bringing to another place and then maybe 2 years later bringing them again. We left them here, okay? And we improved all these high-tech details, okay, in order to explain, no, that it could be achieved with a very low budget, no? And okay, and that's the project. Earth, not Earth movement, the introduction of this staircase, and this just the rope. And actually, I think this is one of my favorite projects that we have done in these last 10 years, because this first phase really is almost invisible, no? And actually, it maintains the sense or the idea of a mountain with 4 rocks, no? And now it's a mountain with 4 rocks and a staircase, okay? But it maintains the main idea, and now it allows the connection, and it allows the access and like a traveling, no? And then since we place this staircase, no, in different situations, we have like 5 different 5 parts, okay? The second one, the third one, then we turn around 90 degrees. We can touch the rocks. For us, it's important to touch the heritage, okay? Heritage is something that it's not only to see, only to look, to take pictures. It's only something that you have to use, to live, to touch, okay? So in this case, of course, we wanted to be very close to the castle, no, of Jorba. And then we go up, and then we reach the high part. That was in 2017. On 2021, okay, 4 years later, we had the opportunity to continue the project, okay? So, okay, let's go. We had more budget, not a great budget, but some more budget, and we could get in, no? And then we could finish this first idea of route, no? And while we were again working with archaeologists and working with excavation, we had this surprise, okay, that's because these projects, we couldn't go here with plans. We had to drop all the plans at the beginning of work, okay, because every day was a surprise. We had to improvise, we had to react every day, maintaining the budget, because this is a public budget coming from European funds. Maintaining a budget, we had to change project constantly. So it was really tricky for us, and we were really happy with the final result, no? But here we found this old chapel, okay, it was buried, okay? And then the archaeologists told us that there were some interesting paintings in the walls, no, from the 14th century, 16th century, etc. And then we had to think about just a shelter in order to keep safe from water, no, because water at the end is the enemy, no, of this kind of archaeology. So they told us to think of a light structure in order to maintain this place, no. So we had, of course, to take out some parts of the project to include this new roof, no, in the same budget. We reused material, no, rocks, etc., for this container wall, and then we introduced this new layer, which is a wooden layer, a wooden structure. It's reversible, so maybe in the future it can be replaced. We don't care. Now it works, okay? It helps to keep the place. And also it explains some interesting levels, no, of the site, no? And it's the end of this route that comes from the bottom of the hill until the top, and then it finally reaches this point, no? And it's like a landmark, no? It's interesting because it can be seen from the exterior, no? It can be seen from the village, so you understand the height and the site of the castle, okay? It's okay, it's a superposition, an overlay of a new layer, and it integrates with the existing structure. Okay, and itself, it's like a new space, which we think that it actually functions as a visitor center space, no, for just to start the visit. And okay, so it's interesting with this just the introduction of a very, very small element that really transforms the existing space, and putting value the existing space. But for us, the most important part of this project was this, new topography, and was this viewpoint, no, from this side, to understand, to finally reach and touch and step over the history, over the ancient level. Okay, another project that was made, I think, with the same time or during the same period, no, in between 2015 and 2019. Actually, it's another intervention in an archaeology site. In this case, was a former defense tower from the 14th century, the Tower of Marola. Okay, it's a really fantastic, woods, etc. We did the visit on 2015, and we saw only like this, this situation, which was they told us that they were worried because it was about to fall down. No, actually, this was in this condition because of the earthquakes of the last centuries. And in 2016, there was a great storm, a lot of wind, and the top floor fell down. Okay, so at this moment, the municipality of Purreig was very worried because they thought that they were going to lose this monument, no? Because this is considered on the toppest category of heritage in Spain. It's a vecin, no? Because it's really of the works of this, of the top, etc. No, this is something quite unique in Catalonia, so this is really catalogued. When we had the commission of making a reinforcement for this, in order to maintain the tower, we talked to engineers, and then they told us to only put some structures, metal structures, to just stabilize the tower. But we thought this commission, small commission, low budget commission, was an opportunity to do something else. Of course, to maintain the former structure, but to introduce a new structure that would help people to reach the different levels. And that new structure was made, or is made, by 14 centimeter profiles, wooden profiles, that are placed over the archaeological trays of the tower. This tower is really small, it's only 5 per 3 meters. As you see, we are very have a lot of experience in small buildings, small places. So again, our salaries are really low as the budget of the project, but we took a lot of effort in this one, and we were really happy to finish it, to have the opportunity to work it. And this situation, I think. We can propose a structure that combines the prefabricated logic of wooden and really precise, with this idea of understanding the preexistence, And then in the middle we placed a staircase that we set it like a maintenance staircase, but at the end it's just a path to connect the different levels and to connect with the top side of the top part of the tower. And again, we wanted two things. We wanted to maintain the original image of the tower, to understand our idea as a sequence of layers. This is the same idea as the house that we saw at the beginning, or the social housing in Vallcarca. It's the same idea, understanding the material itself, the preexistent, introducing a new structure, a wooden structure again, and then in the middle there's this connection space, that connects the both structures. We tried to be very precise. We had to be with this idea of overlaying and trying to find the best ways to connect, not the end, the both structure with these 14 points. Okay. And then for us, it was also very important the idea of transforming the ground floor, in order to improve accessibility. And this is, I think, the first or the most strong idea, trying to reach the top in order to link, and recover the view of the landscape, but from the ground floor, trying to recognize the original tower. We didn't want a new structure that covered the tower. We want a structure that was permeable, and so in order to maintain the original view of this place. Now these are some pictures of the site. Okay, with the new structure, we also could recognize the volume of the tower. Okay, not the shape, of course, but the volume is different. And then we draw everything, all the details. This was again done with a local constructor. We were lucky because in 2 kilometers from here, we have one of the most important wood builders in Catalonia, Fusta, which was really close, so we could go there at their atelier and we could precise the details. And then they came here, and then we built this really fast, no, because it was done prefabricated, and then it was just an idea of replacing putting these pieces and then connecting, no, with the original tower. This stabilizes the tower, and it creates a new space in the interior. No? It creates a new atmosphere. It creates a new idea of connection. And then at the end, no, when we finish, it's interesting to even understand the two structures and this space in between, which relates to the time, no, to the past and the future. And of course, you are still able to see through, to understand the different levels, no, and to see through the new structure and see the rocks and see the stones. And we left all the rocks that we found on the construction site, on the excavation, we left them on site to explain all the original material, no, as another layer that was interesting for us. Now we're going to have like a tour going up, okay? Another interesting thing is that since we transformed the former stone wall into a column structure, we can be inside the empty space that occupies the original wall. So now it's like a negative space, no? Where it was first a solid space, now it's an empty space. And we are like inside the wall, no? We understand the size, the dimension of the wall, no? So it's a really strong feeling, a strong experience, no? And like, this structure helps us to frame the heritage and also the landscape. It's important, no? Because this tower was to defense, so they had some small windows, no, to shoot and to the enemies. So with this idea, is a new version of that. And the staircase, it connects with the original levels, and when we go up, we can touch the tower. So again, it's a very physical and approximate experience, no, of a heritage. It's not a heritage to be seen, it's a heritage to be touched, to be lived. Finally, we reached the top part, and we recovered this view. It was our goal, no, to achieve this and to recover this point of view and to recover this height, no, this historical height. Okay, and the last project for today, actually, it's a history of 3 projects in one, okay, or a sequence of projects. Gironella, it's a small municipality. It's 1 hour, 1 hour and 10 minutes from Barcelona in the north. It's divided by Llobregat River, and actually Gironella, the plan of the town explains the pass of time, the history. No, we have the old center, the old village, which is over a hill, which is about 20 meters above the river. We have some industrial area near the river, and then on the other side we have the modern constructions, no? The modern housing, etc. In 2013, when we started this project in 2013 with a study of the place. We had the commission to implement just like a small master plan or first the first ideas of a study. They were worried because people, the old town was depopulated because people were living in the new town, no, in the new part, no, and the old town, in the top of this hill, was losing its life, no, and of course it was really degraded. This is a side of the proposal. The mayor wanted to implement an elevator, no, a lift that connected the historical center to improve the accessibility of this place, no, because all the streets are really narrow with staircases, and the old people need even cars to go up. Okay, it was a really tricky and really hard commission because this is cataloged as heritage. Okay, and also this is we thought that okay, we could really mess up here because putting a new structure here on an elevator is really hard, no? And we thought, we had a look around. We really think that heritage is not only the tower. Heritage is also, of course, the history, it's the industries, but also the informal structure, the informal houses is heritage. It's important for us, and really important the natural heritage of the riverside. Okay, and in the riverside, we saw this old storage space, illegal storage space. As you see, no one used this passage. This was an old passage. This was called Metres Passage. This was used to connect the old town with the industries, no, in the beginning of the 20th century. But nowadays, it was unused. It was like a residual place. Okay, and then we saw the opportunity to allocate the elevator in that specific point. You know, the mayor wanted to put the elevator just in the tower because it was, no, it finally reached the town hall, no? It was really close from his place. But we thought that it was more interesting to displace this elevator into that specific point in the middle of this passage or at the end of this Calmetres path in order to provoke the people have to arrive, have to walk more and go there. So with this movement, this place would be the dynamic and would be recovered. And also, of course, this new place that we proposed was on the center of the square of the plaza, no, the old plaza. So again, we thought it was a good situation in order to have established this dialogue between the old tower and the industries, no. But for us, what was really important in this project, it was not about to connect the old center with the modern part. The strategical part of the project, or our goal, was to bring people to the river. Okay, so for us, that was our project, not to allow the old part of or to permit this connection between the river and the old part. Okay, so with this section, it's we have like two parts. The first 8 meters, it's a glass covered, okay, because we wanted to have more visible relation with the wall, and also when you go up, you go down, you have shadow of the trees, so you don't have like heating there. And then, of course, for maintenance, we didn't want to put glass on the whole facade, no, because it would be really hot on summer and it will be dirty. So we thought to put only glass on the first 8 meters, and then from the 8 meters to the top, we just placed a brick lattice. No, we turned the bricks, just letting the holes, no, like facade without any kind of glass, so the wind and the air went through, and it was a very, very light structure. And then again, we thought that they asked us to make like a panoramic elevator, not to see the landscape, and we said that you already see the landscape from the top. And what was really unique was the experience of going down and have this view of the wall. So we opened the facade by its wall, no, by the original, the ancient wall, no. So when we go up and down, we have this experience of connecting with the history at this time. We work with local workers and 3 materials: metal, no, with these really, really thin 8 centimeters profiles, this very easy lattice work, and of course glass. And then trees and also rocks. No, the context was also our materials for that interpretation. Okay. So with this very easy and repetitive details, we built this elevator. No, the elevator was done with a prefabricated structure, metal structure, and then we built this lattice cover. People from Gironella were asking us at this moment, when are you going to finish it? And they said, no, it's already finished. No, so that's, I think it's important. No, they really were really shocked at that moment, but we said, no, it's already finished. And actually, it's like this. No, it doesn't have any paint, anything. So it's really zero maintenance, and it's really nice. No, and has the sense of time. No, yeah, that was the key of this project. No, understanding the air. No, because so we don't have like a 24-meter column, we have like a permeable surface, so it's really, really light. So these are some images of the work when we finish it 8 years ago already. So this, I think, this was one of our first works, and it really improved Gironella's life. No, and it worked. It really achieved our goal to be like very light, very transparent from this plaza, but from the other side was like a sequence, no, an insertion that understood the sequence of layers, a sequence of time, okay. And of course, we don't want to have to put a glass facade in order not to have reflections or not to have this kind of image of high tech. No, we wanted to understand this ceramic, this material, no, of the place. And it started to become like a landmark, of course, a new public space that connected both situations. And after some years, actually, and this project won some awards, was in Venice Biennale, etc. So for this stand was really like they were really proud of this project, no? And it really, yeah, I think achieved the first commitment of this, but it really improved much more than they expect. So when we finished this, we had 2 more commissions in Gironella. And actually, the 2 commissions are quite interesting because they are in both parts of the section, no? One in the old part and then another in the river part. And these 2 commissions explain the idea that the elevator connects, no, the different parts of the city, and also the idea to reuse this kind of situation, no? A former public space which was great, but was abandoned and unused, and some parts of the old town which they also had some really nice places which were abandoned. And this church was really close from the elevator, was a former church in Gironella, and I had passed through a really tough history from the 70s and 80s, where it was transformed into a house, a bar, an industry, etc. In the 80s, they did this demolition of the interior in order to recover the whole space, but it was like closed as a storage space. Okay, it was not a public space, or it was a storage space for the city hall. Okay, and they put like a really postmodern facade, this kind of curtain wall. Okay, very not transparent, but like reflected, no, with a glass. Yeah, I don't know what the name, no. Yeah, non-transparent facade, no, but really like something really, really strong. We had the commission to recover this space, to transform it into a cultural place. They didn't know what was the use, but we wanted to just improve it, to put some facilities, some services, no, to transform it into a public space, maybe for an art center or something like that. So we decided to work with everything that we found, even with this facade, no. But of course, we took out this material. We implemented the structure. We added more structure in order to have better isolation, and another rim, which was more related to the old streets and old buildings, no, in the place. And we introduced this wooden box in one of the chapels, which allowed bathrooms, no. So within the interventions of energy improvement, of new facade, which was better in terms of energy, and also an intervention in the entrance and in this bathroom here. With these three interventions, we transform the space. And the space, it's interesting because with this idea of permeability and transparency, it actually amplifies it's the space itself, and it connects with the street. And it allows that from the street you can actually see the interior, of course, and you can see the heritage. So it breaks this idea of interior exterior, and from the interior you can also have the facade of the street as it was your own facade. The same idea that we do on the elevator. That we understand that the exterior is part of the interior, and we play with this kind of ambiguous situation. Well, really fast, I passed some images of this space. The space is really, they are using it for different uses, for dancing, for concerts, for, I don't know, even for lectures, etc. It's like a polyvalent space. We had this really cheap double facade, transparent facade, and then with just a curtain, to improve the acoustic conditions, and also we can transform it into a non-transparent space. So by only placing this idea, this very soft layer, and then we finalized this project 2 years ago. Now they are really using it for different. And the other project, which was actually we were really happy when we got with this commission, was about to recover this place, which, of course, Municipality of Gironella decided to do something here, since it was like the common path to get into the elevator. So this image is before 2015, when this was only a place for car storage, a residual place for the city. Okay. For that purpose, we decided to work with reusing local pavement, local material, which was in a municipal store place. We decided to place this material without any joints, so we could let the water pass through, and then we could even allow the greenery grow in the joints. And we placed these green areas, in the two borders. And of course, we had to put like a pavement, a concrete pavement in the center, in order to connect the street with the industries and allow even emergency cars, because it was for regulation for the firemen. Okay, but the idea is to minimize the interior, this hard pavement, and to have more permeable areas, and to improve the connection with the river. Of course. It was interesting when we replaced the original fence, and then we put a very, very light handrail, that really transformed the place. We get more light, we get more connection with water, we get an opportunity to understand with the material, with the site, to improve the history, the connection of time, and the place, And now, of course, it's a place that people have engaged, with this place. People improve the connection with river, and the best, I think, the final image of this lecture, and I think that explains, and resumes up all this idea, is that with very small interventions, very precise, and working with time, working with the different phases, we can really, really transform the city, and we can improve this idea of life. This is a festival that takes place on summer. It explains that people of Gironella have understood the potential of this place and have really replaced, or understood it as a new public space. And finally, the idea of understanding our work, or we really think that our work has to do with this idea of sequence of time, understanding the past, and also understanding that our interventions are able to change the future, to improve a better future. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Carles.
Thank you.
I think now it's time to have questions for Carles, I'm sure. you have questions or comments. So, anyone to want to break ice? Yes, for sure.
Okay. So I like your idea of using like the structure.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask, why are you choosing to use like wood instead of, I don't know, something like a steel frame? It's only for the price of it, or it has another reasons?
I think that we don't really work with only one or two materials. I think now we are working with wood, with bricks, with metal, no steel, and also with concrete. So, of course, we try to minimize concrete. No, we try to reduce the need for that, and we prefer to work maybe with wood or bricks because they are natural materials or more ecological. Brick is not ecological, but it's more ecological than concrete, of course. But at the end, I think that we propose what we think is the best material for in any case. No, wood allows us to work with wood is light material. No, so it doesn't increase the weight of the structure, doesn't increase the foundation, so that's good in working in rehabilitation. It's a good decision to introduce wood because it's a good material. You can cut it easily. No, wood is in that sense is really nice. But sometimes, of course, for example, in the fireman tower, we couldn't use wood, of course. But then we try to think that when we use wood or even metal, they are light materials, and we think that it's reversible, no? Because at the end, this kind of materials, maybe in 20, 30 years, if you don't need that, you can take it out and you maintain the original material. But if we introduce, I don't know, in the case of these dwellings in Palma, or in the case of the fireman tower, no, that we really introduce maybe a mineral structure, a tough structure, we think that we have the commitment, or we have the compromise to place a structure that can be reused in a fixture. So the structure for us, it's not only to allow the use of that moment, it's a structure that can be reused in the future for something else. I don't know. So we try when we face these new projects, no, this new plan, no, we try to be very concerned of what we do, and we try to keep on the minimum elements and the most easily spaces, no, in order to be reused in future. I don't know if I answered your question. Sorry. No, but the meaning is, I mean, today maybe I choose some projects that they are done by brick, because today was this invitation from Hispalyt, okay? But we work a lot with the steel. We work a lot. I mean, we have no problem with the materials. No.
Hello. This is Enrique Sanz. Do you hear me? Yes. Good morning. Good morning, Javier, Carles. Thank you very much for your lecture. It was very useful and clear. First, I think I want to make a commentary about the terms and conditions of the project's competition. Javier said in the small presentation of the activities of the Foro that this year can apply only students in third grade or more, and this year is the first year can apply students in any grade. This is a little puntualization about this. And I want to make a question to Carles. You talk about the 4 crises you have suffered during the realization of your work, but in the end, your architecture is very positive. Do you feel this positive, this way to work is a natural response of the economic situation or a personal decision of how architecture should be for you?
Yeah, that's an interesting and question. I think both, in the way that, as I mentioned, we have learned and we have started working in the middle of crisis and with a very domestic projects and very small commissions. I don't have any architect in my family, so I don't have. When I started, I didn't have any commission, zero. So maybe a friend that wanted to renovate a kitchen or something. Yeah, we started like that. But then we were lucky that I started to implement some competitions, and we won some competitions, and then we had this opportunity to work with this heritage or archaeological or historical situations where it was almost at the beginning only just the studies or only just the projects, but then when you have that opportunity, you have to really sell that idea to someone, and they are very, very. I think the key of that is that these last projects, the Tower of Merola or the elevator, Gironella or Jorba, they are really, really low cost, because if not, they wouldn't be done, never. Because since the mayor or the municipality sees that with only 2,000 euros, 200,000 euros can do something powerful, that can transform the city, or even the elevator, it's even cheaper. It's only 150,000 euros. The really, really cheap. So with this idea, we really learned that low budget, it's not only like a statement, it's a reality, in order to be fast and to implement things for city, So now we have, of course, bigger projects, and now we have win, and we are building bigger, more with more budget, of course. But we think that we have to be very aware and very conscious of the value of everything. So with that knowledge that we learned at the beginning, we try to face the new projects, try to optimize resources, materials, decisions. I think that for architects, the most important things are decisions, because of course we have to understand how to, the details, the construction details, the materials, the bioclimatic strategies. We can work with landscape architects or biologists, or we can work with engineers, but at the end, our work as architects is to take decisions, the right decisions. So for us, it's really important, the decisions in the process of projects. And those decisions, of course, are always in terms of economy of things, not only the budget, but to minimize the introduction of things, I mean, of course, we have Lacaton in Basal as a reference, and they always say that architecture is already there before before the architect arrives, and they have this project of this this space that they don't do anything. They just decide to dedicate all the budget for maintenance of the space, the public space. And with this attitude, I think it's important, because it's the only way to really be to have a good impact in the city. Because now the problem is not as a studio, that we don't have like big commissions or great budgets. The problem is that the world is in crisis, constantly. So if we can do things with less interventions, So I think that's a good decision, no?
Mhm.
And we also add another thing, that when we do something, this thing has to be really useful in the future. It doesn't have only to be for that moment, no? It has the commission to be something else.
Mhm.
That's what we think is the new heritage, no?
Mhm.
But the heritage that we found, castles, towers, no? This heritage is not, that's impossible, no, to build that nowadays. Maybe now our approach is to build very, very few things, but to reuse all the existing spaces, no? And how to use that.
Congratulations. Your work is very is very useful and also very clear. It's a gift in this moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Enrique.
Hello.
Hey.
I wanted to ask you, from your point of view, what are the most important aspects that you look at in order to understand the site and also the needs of the building that you're rehabilitating?
Okay, that's a good one. I think that's different to explain in terms of science or something like objective, because at the end, I also think that architecture has to be intuitive, no? So we always go to site, and of course we walk around, we see a potential. We think that we believe in the connections, the probability of things, no? A lot of projects are about trying to connect or to connect, of course, vertical connections, but also horizontal connections in connect different streets. We believe that the city has to be walkable, permeable, etc. No, and at the end, when we propose, like the case of this Canal Gijunier space, no, that we just finished now, no, the void space that we left, no, for future uses, we think that to be ambiguous or to be non-programmatic at this moment, it's good because everything is changing. 3 years from now, before COVID, we didn't really appreciate it, or we appreciated less the exterior spaces in public buildings, no, or in housing. Now all housing has to have terraces, balconies, etc. No, so because of quality, of the living outside, etc. So I think that if you don't if you try to be more ambiguous with this specific program, in order not to do, I don't know, a cinema or a theater, or I don't know, to do something that can be a cinema, or to do something that can be not something else. I think that's better. Even we have a project, well, one of these, the music school. We had a public library, well, not public, a library of the music school in the top floor, and we had a lot of regulations for that, no, fire regulations, climate regulations, because it's a library. What we did was to change that name, and instead of library, we said that it was a place where to read. But that changes completely the regulations. That is powerful. You change and you explain to the municipality, no, this is not a library. This is a place where you can read. You can sit here and take some books, or just grab magazine and read. Okay, but okay. And maybe you don't have that regulation that a library has in terms of exterior emergency spaces and climate that has to be 24 degrees. No, I mean, we will reach a moment that we won't be able to put on the heating or the cooling, no? We are reaching this moment. In Barcelona, in Catalonia, we don't have water. No, there's a dry season. I don't know, in Valencia, we are lacking water. So we have to be very aware of the natural resources.
So you're saying that when you first imagine something, you imagine the space, not the program.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's better, right? Even better than that's exactly what we do. That's exactly what we do. I think that we build spaces. I think that as architects, I really think that we have to be, our commitment is to build spaces, good spaces. Because if you imagine, or you remember your best spaces, or your favorite spaces, or favorite architectures, I don't think that they are related into a specific program. If you go to Barcelona, I would recommend to go to Biblioteca Pompeu Fabra. It's in a former water tank. It's incredible. It's the best building in Barcelona. It was a water tank, and now it's a library that Lluís Clotet and Ignacio Paricio, which are really, Lluís Clotet is one of the best architects in Catalonia for sure, the 20th century. And he transformed that space, that it is like a cathedral, he transformed it into a library, but just adding some new layers of prefabricated slabs and some tables, but just to understand and read the place. It's incredible, that project. I would recommend, Barcelona is only 3 hours from here, go to see the water tank library, please. It's a lecture of architecture. Of course, I went a lot of times, but this week I went there with this Vienna School of Architecture, which I am doing some collaboration with them. And they were fascinated of that building. And this is why that building hasn't had any specific use. It was just a structure to support water on the top floor. Just this. Thank you for your time. It was really nice, and hope to see you again, in the future.
Okay, so with this, we can finish the session, also online. Thank you very much, Foro Cerámico, for the activity, and see you next Monday. Bye-bye.
Es algo que quieras rellenar antes de irse.